All right, let me take you to the future. Today, I want to take you to the future. Had to use the studio light because it's so overcast down here. But yo, I want to take you to the future, man. And I was talking to my class yesterday, and we were doing some mystery stories, and I had found a book of mystery stories, and they had to identify the clue to cite the evidence to convict the person or find the guilty party that would convict the person. And all of the cases were what do you call it? They were from the 50s and the 60s, you know, and it was pre internet, pre cell phone, pre camera phone, and those things have revolutionized the world, you know. And they were born into those things, right? Maybe not the camera phones, but certainly the internet and the cell phone, right? So I had to explain, you know, what the world was like to them before that, so they could understand some of the cases, right? And it's sort of my fault for giving them cases like that. But they have cell phones; they can Google. Anyway, it made me think of, you know, since we're living in my future, in a sense, my adolescence future, when I was young and thinking about going to college, I'm in that future, right? What will their future be like, and what will the future be like? You know, it's one thing to say, yo, I know what I'm going to do in my future, but as a group, like, what will the future be like? What will their generation's future be like? And the speculation of that is really what my book, Cyberfunk Streets, is about. You know, once you say cyberfunk, right, you're dealing with cyberfunk or cyberpunk, you're dealing with an interpretation of the future where the cyber world is impacting the human world. And you're playing out those scenarios. Now, the Cyberpunk 2020 or Cyberpunk 77 game and comic book, they really just deal with the crime in the world, and the crime in the world, right? And the gangs and rebelling against the machine, because that's really what Cyberpunk is. It's a rebelling against the machine. It's sort of dystopian in a sense that it allows the world the world has to be destroyed, and gangs rule, and totalitarian governments rule, you know, and chaos, disorder. You know, you're thinking of Judge Dredd, you're thinking of Blade Runner, you know, and then even in the comic book and the video game is worse. But when you take cyberfunk, that's the black interpretation of technological cybernetic world, you're dealing more with Afrofuturism. You know, you're dealing more with the backgrounds of the world, you know, where we're not necessarily dealing with gangs. We're going to have that. I know I'm going to have it in my stories, but most of the stories are how do the people live in those worlds. So my stories, Cyberfunk Streets, are really social studies, right? They're dealing with, you know, robots and the interpersonal relationship that humans have that robots can disrupt. You're dealing with self-esteem in the Ass Doctor, right? And then the Banger Brothers, you're dealing with I guess emasculation and male identity and female identity in that story. I guess that's the better way to describe it, right? And there's really no oppressive government, but outside of those stories in the greater world, yeah, there's going to be other things going on. It's not going to be a utopian world only. It's going to be a mixed world, you know. My stories take place on another planet or different planets, because programmable man happens on a different planet from the Ass Doctor and the Banger Brothers. So it's a planetary system, but it's not necessary to know that. Why do I say, let me take you to the future? Well, of course, I'm speculating about the future, and that's important. But I say, let me take you, because some people are like, oh my God, I see a naked robot on the cover. I can't look at that, as if robots can be naked. We'll get into that, right? But, you know, a naked robot, right? That's a distraction. My robot is a secret agent, right? It's an undercover assassin, a hitman, hit woman, hit robot for hire, right? But beyond that, you know, the book is a world exploration of the future. And I say, let me take you there, because I don't want you to allow the cover, although it is fly to death and people love it, it could be distracting for some people to think, oh, this is a sex book, right? So you see how the mainstream processes cyberpunk, and you see how black people have reinterpreted cyberfunk, right? Our stories are more the human experience, not necessarily dystopian worlds, because again, we live in a dystopian world, so we don't need an oppressive government. We just getting ready to see the light of an equal government. So the last thing we want to do is imagine more of an oppressive government, right? So our cyberpunk is less of that, right? But beyond that, you know, you look at my stories. Okay, on the cover you may see, an adult image, right? But just like with cyberpunk, when you open the pages, you're gonna find something a lot more in depth than what you thought. How I arrived at the cover, Cyber Bay was a character in my book, Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet. And I have a legacy from my first editor who says, damn, you named too many characters, you know, and in my books, I name important characters. Otherwise, I just refer to them as thing one, thing two, right? Or I might not do it that cheesy. The brown one, the black one, the yellow one, you know, big eyes, small ears, whatever. I may give them nicknames, right? As opposed to giving them a name and a character. So in Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet, Cyber Bay and her cyberettes, right, before they're called that, are maybe 3 or 4 scenes in the movie, in the book, and I never named them, right? I never give them names, because they're just robots. I have my robots, you know, that's all Boss Lady says. I'll send my robots to handle it, right? And that's all you see. However, I like the idea of these love robots that, you know, out of respect for sex workers, prostitutes, or whatever, I recognize that they have a unique perspective on male-female relations and men in general, and what men go through. And I was like, wow, love robot AI would be interesting to have as a perspective on the world. And how about we go through the world and gather experiences through her eyes? So that's how I arrived at Cyber Bay being a pull-out character. And then I got my man Rollo to illustrate her, and the rest is history. I was thinking Pam Grier, right? And I'm gonna play with that a little bit this weekend when I can get back to my Photoshop. I was thinking Pam Grier, and it definitely gave you that Foxy Brown attitude. So I'm cool on that. But the stories, wow, you know, the stories were around before Cyber Bay, and the stories were around before the quarantine. I wrote these 3 short stories in script form, and I felt that I could shoot them, and I still feel like I could shoot them. The problem is, don't necessarily feel that there's the low budget movie level market that I can go to. So now with them as a comic book, I can pitch the script a little bit differently, and hopefully can get somebody that's interested in these futuristic portrayals. But yeah, they're fun stories. They're more social than a cyber punk story, and they come from the black experience, and that's funny. I gave my man Rolo a reference of Pam Grier, and to have him make a robot, and robots don't have races. That's a human thing, but yet people call her a black robot, right? People identify with her in it as a black comic, and I consider her a black robot, right? I got and then 2 other Latina robots that's gonna work with her, right? Or a mixed robot. I have no idea how I'm gonna do it, but Vixonia and Robotina are the 2 side chick robots that are partners with Cyber Bay, and I don't even know how I'm gonna deal with race because it's so important to this world that we're in. I am going to leave them as just robots, but people will see them as certain races. Anyway, that's why I kind of love, and change subject, that's why I kind of love that, Zone 414 movie that's on Netflix. People hate it. I might not really enjoy it if I see it again, but I enjoyed the world building of it, because it's the world building that I put it in the Cyber Bay. Last little point. Why is the future exploration important? Well, we need to dream big. And I always say we need to think big as writers, so that way we can come up with big things, specifically black people and black writers. I'm a 12th grade English teacher. Seeds are being planted all through a child's education. And those, children grow up to go and do amazing things. They go up and fulfill their childhood dreams. And if we can make those dreams bigger, those dreams and things that they go out and achieve will be bigger. So if we can tease them a little bit and say, hey, this is something you might want to think about, when they go and think about it and have dreams, the dreams will be bigger. And then when they come out of schools and they go out and make things, the things that they make will be bigger. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell them what to think, but you can challenge them to think of things that are bigger, right? I hope you get that. So that's one reason. And then for us, like for me, I'll tell you, I love the future because I'm not really big on the present, right? I am eager for the present to be over with. Like, one of the things I would love to do is go to sleep and come back in 100 years, right? I actually love to go back in time, but I know that's not possible. And possibly going to sleep and waking up in 100 years ain't possible either. But I think it's a little bit more possible than going back in time. I know that's for sure. But I do think about those things. And what thinking about those things does for me, the future, is allow me to put my actions of today into order. I was going to give you a real quick one. My friend, one of my former youth members when I used to work in the youth council, lost her husband. And I don't know how he died. I'm going to say health, right? I don't know if it was COVID. Anyway, she was just like, I don't know how I'm going to live. I don't know what I'm going to do, you know? And I'm going to still have yet to reach out to her, and giving her close people a chance to get in touch before I call and say, hey, who am I, right? But I thought, after listening to her or reading her on social media, that damn, what would it be like for my wife, right? to have to conduct life with all little chores that I may do, I may not do without me. And that's just immediate future. You know what I'm saying? I write about the far, far off future. But all of those futures, you know, even the far off future, puts in perspective the world that we live in today. Sometimes it allows you to see how big and small the world is, or significant and insignificant you might be. So sometimes those things do help people. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. Let me take you to the future. It'll change your present. All right? Peace. Support Cyberfunk Streets. Like and share the video. Like, share, subscribe. And, hey, comment. I don't get any comments. Well, I do get some. I get very few comments. I need to get more comments. And I say that because when the avalanche comes, I ain't going to be able to respond to all of them. But let me get a few. All right. Peace, y'all. Sci-Fi Express Lane pulling over.